Hi, and welcome to the Adventures of Two Gray Mice. Today on episode 37, we're going to be talking about Royal Caribbean's new ship, the Hero of the Seas. Here we go. Hey, folks, welcome back. It is just me today, as it very often is on the every other week. Sorry that this episode this week is a little late. It's been a little crazy, and I had several technical difficulties this week. But be that as it may, moving right along, we're going to talk about today the Hero of the Seas. It's Royal Caribbean's brand new icon ship. It is going to start sailing out of Miami in the summer of 2027. I know it feels really far away, but the ship is actually already on sale. In other words, you can already book your uh, cruise ticket on it. So it's time to start thinking about if you want to go on this ship now. So let's sit down, talk about it, and tell you everything you need to know about the Hero of the Seas. Royal Caribbean has, if anybody doesn't know, the world's largest cruise ships called the Icon class. This is going to be the fourth ship in the Icon class. And it's very similar in shape, size, and everything else with the first three. The third one actually just recently launched. The third one just recently launched and looks very cool. But this one's going to be a little different. They've kind of gone about it a little different way, and it should be interesting. It will start sailing in August of 2027. It's going to be doing 7-night Caribbean itineraries out of Miami, both eastern and western routes. They're saying that right now, and then what they're selling right now, every stop will include a port day at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is their really very awesome private island. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to be curious if later on the Eastern Caribbean ones start also including the Perfect Day at Mexico, which should be opening, I think, by 27. I know they're working on it now. I'm not really sure when it's going to be opening off the top of my head because I didn't look into that because I was just concerned about the ship. So let's start with what there is to do on the ship. You've probably seen an Icon class ship or their Utopia class ships. When you look at them, like from above or from the back, there's like a big carve out in the middle that where they have neighborhoods. Okay. In the front of the ship ish, behind the big dome where they have their water theater, they have the water parks, and then in the ship, like they have areas. One is called Central Park, one is called Surfside. They've kind of refined these areas a little bit. Surfside is definitely now more of a family area. Central Park is definitely more now of a relax, enjoy yourself kind of area. And then, of course, you have the water park, which is one of the largest water parks at sea. They call it Category 6 because it has 6 water slides. And they've changed the water slides where in the first 3, the water Category 6 is very similar. If you were on, the Icon of the Seas, you're going to recognize it from this one. You're going to recognize it from that one. This one's different. They've gone back through and they've really talked to people that have been on their ships and really gotten some feedback about what the ships have and what people are looking for. So for the first time, there's a funnel raft slide at sea. When I first read this, it wasn't until I saw the pictures of it. I was thinking funnel as in ship's funnel, the big thing no, they mean funnel as in like what you pour beverages into to get it to go into a smaller container. Sometimes I'm a little bit of a dingbat. So the first funnel ride at sea, so it's, more family oriented. So you can go on with other people. They're going to have 2 other family raft slides as well. There are 2 other family raft slides as well. They've upgraded Storm Chasers, which is their racing slides with new tailspin, switchbacks, open air surprises. If you've got an Icon or Star of the Seas before, it's pretty much the same water park. They've just changed it up. They still have the Crown's Edge, which is like an obstacle course and ropes course that literally dangles off the side of the ship. It's 154 feet above the ocean. There's like when you're doing it, you're tied off. You've got a helmet on, you've got overalls on or coveralls on. At one point, the floor actually dips out and you kind of like zippy around a corner and into it. Not for me. And it's an extra charge. And I wish one, it wasn't an extra charge, but I understand why it is. It was very expensive. It was like $90 or something for like 3 minutes. It's not worth it. So unless the price has gone down a lot, not something that will ever be on my list because of the 154 feet above the ocean. But then on top of that, just not being there. This one will, of course, also have the Flow Rider, which is a surf simulator with, 30,000 gallons of water or something like that. They start you out with a boogie board, and once you figure out what you're doing, or if you already know what you're doing, then they bring out the surfboards for you. The main front of the ship, not the very front, but yeah, there's a huge, huge rock climbing wall. There's going to be a really cool mini golf area, sports courts, pickleball, all that stuff. So there's going to always be something to do on this ship, especially for 7 days. So they're going to have 3 or 4 stops. You're going to have a minimum of 2 sea days, and especially with the icon classes, very much so. These are the ship is almost why you're going. Okay. So, especially if some of these shorter cruises on the Icon or, 3 or 4 day cruises, you're going to Nassau, you're going to Perfect Day. Perfect Day is definitely a place you want to go to. Many people don't get off at Nassau. Your destination is the ship. And with this really cool huge water park in the front, especially for families, it's very much so a different kind of vibe. They've redone a lot of the pool areas. Still have 9 pools. Um, Supposedly the most swim places on any ship at sea. They're not all the same. So when you get on board or the first day or two, you're going to want to figure out which vibe you're going for. They're looking to be a little more relaxed, a little more like an all-inclusive Caribbean resort than upbeat dance party kind of thing. They will have that kind of area as well. But so like more loungers in the water, more loungers, more day beds, more, they're gonna have cabanas that you can rent for extra money. So it's gonna be a little more of a relaxed vibe around most of the pools, not all of them. Of course, first you're gonna have the adults pool called the Hideaway. It's an adult-only oasis. It's gonna have 2 pools, the largest swim-up bar at sea. Huge it's at the back of the ship, so huge ocean views. They're gonna have a DJ. The DJ is actually right off the water or in the pool with you. So it's definitely a place where you can just, hang out, relax, listen to music. Then there's be Swim and Tonic, which is an expanded adults pool with in-water loungers, benches and tables right in the water so you can literally just float and drink and just relax. It's looks really cool. It looks very relaxing and definitely more of the way I would do a pool in some ways than, you know, playing around at a pool with being an Irishman. I very often don't spend my entire day at a pool because, sunburn. For families, there's going to be Splashaway Bay, which is a whole aqua park for kids, water cannons, drench buckets, water jets, like the ones you can shoot each other with, 2 small water slides for the kids, and even Baby Bay for your littlest ones. Now remember, um, your children do have to be potty trained and out of swim diapers for them to be in the pools. They cannot be in the pool even in a swim diaper. There is probably a small splash pad that they can use with a swim diaper on, but it will not be a pool. They cannot be in a pool in a swim diaper. You're also then going to have Coconut Cove, Royal Bay, Water's Edge, and Cloud 17, all different areas, pool areas that with different pools in them, just to relax and enjoy yourself. So even though there's like 5,600 people, I think, on board, you're going to be able to find your own little niche in your own little place to just kind of hang out. The food. There's going to be 28 dining venues aboard this ship. It's the most at sea. 16 of them will be included with your cruise fare. I'm just going to talk about a couple ones that are new for this ship or newly designed for the ship is really what I should say. So first you can have the Orleans Paris Supper Club. It's brand new to the Hero. There's a similar supper club on each Icon class. One is to New York, one is to Chicago. Can't remember where the most recent one is to. So picture early 20th century New Orleans, live jazz, Cajun Creole food. Each course is paired with a cocktail. They'll have music going at the same time. It's an experience. It is, of course, above and beyond your cruise fare. You'll be paying extra for this. But it's definitely more of an experience as well as a dining, not just dining. On the same vein, you're going to have the Royal Railway Hero Station. Currently, the Royal Railway is only on the Utopia. It is a completely immersive dining experience. You're actually dining in a dining car of a old like steam train. There's live actors, themed environments. We aren't sure what the environment is going to be, what the storyline of the train ride you're going to be on. It's definitely like a theatrical dinner meal. My boss went on this on the Utopia. She said the food was wonderful. It was a great, fun experience. It doesn't seat a lot, so it's going to be a very hard to get item if you really want to. So if you have, status with Royal Caribbean or you get one of the suites or something like that, then it's going to be a little easier for you to get it. And I'm curious what the theme is going to end up being. And like I was saying before, they're kind of focusing a little more on families and finding things for families to do together. Your kids have the ability to go into, if you want them to, Royal Caribbean has fabulous kids clubs. They can hang out with other kids their own age and they can play all day and you can go off and do your own thing. But they also are now going, especially in the Surfside area, have more family-focused activities going on, more family-focused dining going on. And one of the things they're going to start doing is they're going to have family cooking classes back there in one of the restaurants. Be hands-on. They're going to go over the top recipes, wacky experiments. You actually eat what you make at the end. And it's just a great experience for you and the kids. I know one of the other things they're going to have back there is like a mommy and me bar so that when you go up, you as the mom, dad, human adult, the child can go and get your favorite frozen cocktail or whatever cocktail you're getting. And the child you're with will get a matching non-alcoholic version. So the two of you can then sit there and have a conversation or play cards or whatever you want to do while, spending time together. Of course, that's just like two of the three, actually, sorry, of the specialty dinings that are going to be there. There's going to be all the traditional Royal Caribbean specialty dinings. They usually have the seafood place, they have the steak place. That's all still going to be there. You're going to have the Aquadome Market. You're going to have Sorrento's Pizza, which is open crazy hours. You could have El Loco Fresh from Mexican and Surfside Bites and Sprinkles ice cream, which all of that is usually included. So there'll be plenty to eat of really good food, including, I think it's like a 3-story main dining room with a, big atrium in the middle. And of course, the Windjammer Buffet, which, is the buffet. I'm not a big buffet person. I mean, I enjoy them because there's usually such a variety of food that anybody can find something to eat. But I'm usually a little more into the main dining room kind of thing. Now, what they really changed up for this particular ship is the staterooms. And in the Icon class period, they've changed up the staterooms from the smaller ships. The headliner is the ultimate family treehouse. You can see it in the renderings that they've got online. It's 3 decks. You have 2 main bedrooms, each with their own bathroom and balcony, a rooftop terrace, a private whirlpool, ocean views. I believe it kind of overlooks, I think from the renderings, it overlooks the water park. I'm not sure. Definitely one of the pools down there. It looks like, from the outside, it looks like the Swiss Robinson tree houses. It looks so cool. There's a two-story teen hideout with a spiral staircase and a game room, okay? And the teen rooms are bunk beds. It sleeps 12 people. 12 people. Of course, the 7-day cruise is probably going to be the same amount of money as you would need as a deposit to buy a house, but that's okay. Um, it's a vacation home, really, basically on a ship. It looks amazing. I would love to have the disposable income to be able to afford it. If you've got that kind of disposable income, please give me a call. I would love to book it for you. Of course, on top of that, you also have the Ultimate Family Townhouses, which is also 3 levels, in suite, wraparound terrace, hot tub. There's a slide that goes from the kids' room down to downstairs. Um, it's in the Surfside neighborhood. It sleeps 8 people. Also, crazy pants expensive, but looks really cool. Would love to do it. The Surfside family suites are much more logical for most people, and what most larger families of 4 or so are gonna end up with. The Surfside family suites. They're all in the Surfside area. Most of them overlook, the Surfside neighborhood, not the ocean. Some, I am assuming, also overlook the ocean. You have a sweet split bathroom, and this is the only cruise line that I know of that does a split bathroom besides Disney that does them in all of their rooms besides the inside cabins. And what that means is you have one bathroom is a sink and a toilet, and one bathroom is a shower and a sink. So that more than one person can be getting ready at a time. So when dad's showering and, it's a glass shower, so no one can use the bathroom while dad's in there, somebody can use the bathroom in the other room, which is great. It's gonna have a small kids nook with the sofa so that you can close a curtain and they have their own little area. The sofa is what folds out for them to sleep. You could have a sunset quarters suite, which has wraparound balconies. It's in the back of the ship, ocean views in every direction, living room, full bath with a tub, 2 sinks. You have interior rooms with walk-in closets. It's just you have panoramic ocean view rooms. They're gonna have the infinite balcony rooms, which are the rooms that the balcony is closed in, but there's a huge glass wall at the end of the room, so you have more room inside when everything's closed up, but the window actually opens up from the top down, creating what a balcony basically is. They look really cool. I'd have to try it out. Supposedly, whenever you lower the glass, the air conditioning goes off in the room, so if it's a hot, muggy day, I can see that being annoying, but at the same time, you're in a moving ship. So I could see maybe the breeze coming in, especially if you're on the ocean side. Might be different on the surf side and the overlooking, Central Park area because I'm assuming there's not really a breeze in there because where would it be coming from since the front of the ship is closed off? But you also then have ones that just have full windows, they don't open up. It's gonna be very interesting. There's gonna be so many different classes of rooms that you can get. There's gotta be one for every budget, whether you've got, just a couple grand to go on a vacation or you've got, you know, 6 euros to go on vacation. There's definitely gonna be some sort of room on this ship just for you. But so the what I would do is I would figure out what kind of vacation I want first, and then I always work backwards in some ways. What's your goal? This is my goal. This is what I wanna do, and then I'm gonna work backwards. So if you're never gonna be in your room, it's okay to get rooms that don't have a balcony or is inside. If you're gonna be spending a lot of time in your room and you don't think you're gonna be getting off the boat much, then maybe you want a suite where you have more room. Or you've got a family of 6, or you've got a family of 5. or it's just the two of you, whatever the case may be. So, where is this ship going to take you? Like I said, 7 nights out of Miami, covering the Eastern and Western Caribbean destinations. So that's St. Martin, St. Thomas, Cozumel, and each sailing right now is going to go to Perfect Day at Coco Cay. I can't remember if I mentioned Perfect Day at Mexico earlier. I think I did. That's going to be opening at some point. I'm assuming that the Eastern will sooner or later go there because Perfect Day at Mexico is close to Cozumel. It's coming out of Miami, easy to get to, great flight connections, great hotels nearby. And when Rob and I sail out of Miami, we always check the flights out of Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, and Miami. And we take the cheapest ones as long as it's not like considerably cheaper. And so, like last time we flew into Fort Lauderdale, we actually spent the night in Fort Lauderdale. And then we take the Bright Line, the high speed train from Fort Lauderdale down to Miami. And I wouldn't because the traffic's crazy, but it's like less than a mile from the Brightline station to the port. So same thing from Orlando. If I was going to be in Orlando, I'd probably go down to Miami the night before. Always fly in the night before because you never know what's going to happen. Miami is becoming more and more of a busier and busier port. I've heard some issues, people getting Ubers out there, the traffic. But at the same time, it's usually only when something big is happening in town, like everybody was complaining one weekend, but it was also the weekend they had half the roads closed for um, the Miami Marathon. So who knows? Don't go during the F1 weekend. That's what I think. Um, the Eastern Caribbean tends to lead to those crystal clear blue water ports that are just gorgeous. St. Thomas, great beach, shopping is wonderful. St. Martin, absolutely beautiful. Western Caribbean, you're going to get to Honduras, Mexico, and that, jungle beach vibe. And I always do this. I realized, I keep saying on the Eastern Caribbean, they're going to go to Mexico. No, no, no. It's the Western Caribbean. Why? I always think Mexico's east. I don't know. I know it's west of here. I'm in New York. It's west. If you're in Florida, it's still west. But whatever. Coco Cay. It is not your average private island. It has its own water park, which is extra. It is Hideaway Beach for adults, which is not extra, has multiple bars. All the food is included. Most of the food is included. There are some things you can extra. If you have gotten the beverage package, any beverage package on board, it works on the island as well. So if you've got the alcoholic beverage package or the non-alcoholic beverage package, the only beverages that are free on board without buying a package are regular coffee, regular tea, lemonade, and fresh brewed iced tea. That's it. So unless and water. So unless one of those things is your main beverage, you're probably going to end up getting some sort of beverage package. Always think if it's worth it. The alcoholic beverage package can be expensive. The average price is about $15 per drink. Depending on the sale, you can end up needing between 4 and 6 beverages a day to break even, okay, to make it worthwhile. So unless you're going to be drinking that kind of alcoholic beverages, it's not worth it. Of course, the alcoholic beverage package does include all your sodas and everything else. That wraps up into all of it. So you might be better off if you're like my girlfriend who drinks like 4 Diet Cokes a day. You may want to get the non-alcoholic beverage package if you're going to be doing your Diet Cokes all day long and then just having a glass of wine with dinner. And they have, there's all sorts of different packages that you can get between your Wi-Fi, your drink, the this, the that. It can get very complicated. So make sure you'll read the fine print, or even better yet, really reach out to a travel agent. I would love for it to be me, but if it's not me, reach out to some travel agent and let them help you. Because we also then pay attention to, let's say you book this tomorrow because this sounds great to you. And usually the the cheapest prices when it first comes out, but they have a great sale in 4 months, then I adjust your price down because that's what you do. Okay, so what is this gonna be good for? Anybody. Anybody's gonna be able to take this cruise because there's gonna be adult places that you can get away from the kids if you're just a couple or just a group of friends or, a bachelorette party or a bachelor party or whatever the case may be. There's going to be places where you can go and enjoy yourself away from the children. There's a casino. There's adult-only restaurants. There's adult-only pools. There's adult-only bars. At the same time, families. There's entire areas that are geared toward families, pools that are geared towards families. The whole water park area is geared towards families. Multi-generational, grandma, you, the kids, the whole crowd, because everybody can find their own space and be happy on board, and nobody's going to be feeling like this ship wasn't for me. There's going to be nobody that's like, oh, no, I have no interest in being here. Now, if you don't like a lot of people, if you don't like a lot of hustle and bustle, it might not be the ship for you. If you want a little more upper class, if you want a little more service, this may not be the ship for you. If you want a little more slower travel or intimate ports, then this is not going to be the ship for you because the ship is so big that it can only go to certain ports. Makes sense. If your idea of, coming home, eating great, waking up every day, having something to do in front of you, having good food, and being able to relax, this is your ship. And if you really want, a quieter trip and this seems like just too much for you, Royal Caribbean has other ships that would work for you or many other ones. So it starts sailing in summer of 2027 in August. Right now, that feels like 10 million thousand years from now. I feel like I'm going to blink and it's going to be here tomorrow. The best itineraries and, of course, the best cabins go first. And that what's left is like this oddball middle range, you know, um, not the cheapest, not the most expensive after a while. So if you've got a family reunion coming up and this looks like a good idea, or your milestone birthday or your anniversary trip, or you just need to get out of Dodge, think about it. This is going to be the time you want to book it. It's going to slowly sell out as things go. Now it is August. I probably wouldn't book until September just in case. The Royal usually comes out with their ships exactly when they're going to say they're going to come out with their ships. They usually don't have a lot of wiggle room of like things not being done on time, especially lately. It's really only through COVID that ships weren't getting done on time. So just really quick, Hero of the Seas. It also will have a chief dog officer. We just don't know what it is yet. Sailors on the new one. Yep. Yeah. They're so cute. Anyway, can't go wrong with a ship with a dog on it. Hero of the Seas. 9 pools, 28 restaurants, the first funnel slide at sea, a treehouse suite that sleeps 12, a New Orleans jazz dinner, and it sails from Miami and it's starting in the summer of 2027. I'm looking forward to it. I think I want to try to get on it. That's all I got for today. Thank you so much for hanging out and listening. Please follow us on Instagram at Two Gray Mice Podcast. You can also send us any questions, any podcast ideas. Reach out to me about your travel at the number 2 Gray Mice at gmail.com. And please leave us a rating and review wherever you happen to listen, because it's the only way this podcast will find an audience. Thanks, folks. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.